Here at the FSPN headquarters, we sometimes realize that it may be necessary on certain occasions to go back and revisit some of our old content, which is very important and maybe perhaps relevant to what's going on today in the news. And this is just such an occasion. So please enjoy this Frankie classic. Thank you.
And we're back. Frankie from Flatbush on the Frankie from Flatbush show. And I'd like to take a moment to share an analogy, give you a context to help my fellow Jet fans as we stand on the verge, on the eve of another free agency period for the NFL season. And a lot of big names are going to be flying about. This guy's going over here. That guy's going over there. Rumor over here. We might trade this one. This person's getting released. What's happening? What is going on? And so all of this can lead to a Jet fan, having a high blood pressure and heart palpitations and all sorts of health conditions if we don't look at the situation in the right way. And so I'd like to offer the following analogy to help put the free agent and off-season into the right context. If you remember The Wire, okay, that show The Wire, all right, and they had a scene in there, and it was where Bubbles is getting dropped off by McNulty. Remember, the character of Bubbles was the drug addict who occasionally helps out the police, and McNulty's the police officer, and McNulty's dropping off his little CI, confidential informant, it's called. And Bubbles looks at him and goes, "Thin line between heaven and here." And he's
Is good for you?
Mm-hmm. Thin line between heaven and here.
And he's talking about the ghetto where he lives. He's getting dropped off. He's a drug addict. He doesn't live. He lives in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? And he says thin line between heaven and here, meaning to him, to Bubbles, to the drug addict. This is as close to heaven as it gets. The ghetto. Meanwhile, McNulty's used to, living it up in the nice areas of town, right? Nicer, anyways. And what is the point of that, Frankie? Well, I think of the NFL like a city, okay, or, a town, or, and some of the teams, they live in the ghetto. They're with Bubbles, okay? And other teams, they're living in the middle class part of town, and other teams, they're in the gated community of the town, okay? They're the upper class, okay? And the teams that live in the gated community, they're the teams that are the Super Bowl contenders, okay? As of right now, that would be like the Packers, the 49ers, the Rams, the Chargers, the Patriots, all the great teams that are going for the Super Bowl right now. The Chiefs, right? The Bills, okay? And then you have the people in the middle class who are contenders. They may make the playoffs. Maybe they don't. They're in the middle. And then you have all those teams. And then you have the teams in the ghetto. You have the teams who hang out with Bubbles, the drug addict, okay? And those teams are called the Lions, okay? And, the Jaguars and the Texans and the Giants and the Jets. We live in the ghetto, okay? When you win 6 games over the last 2 years, you live in the ghetto. You're in the ghetto, okay? So when names like Amari Cooper and Daniil Hunter and Calvin Ridley, before we knew about the gambling, and all of these high-class players come up, and they're tied to the Jets, it's like we, the Jets, like Bubbles, going up to the security thing at the gated community and saying, excuse me, can we get in here, please? I don't know why we would do that in a British accent, but you get the point. We show up to the gated community with our blue-collar shirt on with holes in it and our fingernails dirty, and we stink because we haven't taken a shower in 3 days, okay? And we're going up to the security guard and saying, we'd like to go in there, into the gated community, because we want access to these players who are championship players. We want Devontae Adams, and we want Mari Cooper, and we want all these people who are in the gated community. We want access to them. And the security guard says, no. Excuse me. You're not allowed in here. You belong in the ghetto. You don't come here with your filthy shirt with holes in it and your dirty fingernails, okay, and your hair all messed up, okay, and you're tweaked out on God knows what, okay, and you're coming here and you stink. You haven't showered in 3 days, okay, and you're trying to come in here. No, you're not allowed in here. You need to go back to the ghetto, and you just get out of here, because this is not the place for you to be. And this is what's going on. We're not allowed yet we're not even in the middle class neighborhood. We're in the ghetto, okay? And the only way out is through the draft, and we have to crawl and climb and go and just work our butts off and hope and pray to God Zach Wilson's the guy, and that we can get enough talent through the draft that we can eventually crawl and climb and make our way perhaps into the middle class neighborhood. And then when we're in the middle class, then maybe we can start to think about perhaps approaching some of the people from the gated community to come onto our team, and then maybe we can make our way up there. But we're not there right now. As of right now, we are in the ghetto. Thin line between heaven and here. And that's the way it is. You have to love where you're at, because, we're trying to get better. But at the same time, somebody looking at it from their point of view, from the gated community, is going to say, no. You're not allowed over here. There's a reason it's a gated community. They don't want the likes of the Jets in there. The Cowboys don't want the likes of the Jets in their neighborhood. They don't, because they're a winning team, okay? And we are not. We stink right now, okay? So when you see these high-class players going all over here and there and everywhere, you can't get offended. We're in the ghetto. The way out of the ghetto is through the draft. You have to get your own players, and you have to have a system, and you have to have coaching, and you have to have an organization that builds up all of those things, builds up the coaches, builds up the players, builds up the system, okay? So that you can eventually crawl inch by inch and inch by inch into the next level, which would be the middle class neighborhood. And then from there, you keep crawling and crawling and crawling, and then maybe you can get into the gated community. Now, you can speed it up. If Zach Wilson turns out to be Joe Burrow, you speed it up. When Josh Allen went from year 2 to year 3, it got sped up for the Bills. Okay, Mac Jones turned out to be, pro ready, as they call it, right from day one. The Patriots got sped up from what they were doing. You can speed it up, and a lot of that has to do with the quarterback. But right now, we're in the ghetto. Nobody's going to want to deal with us who are on the championship level, and nobody from the gated community is going to let us in to the gated community until we clean up our act. That's the way it is. So I hope that helps you deal with what's going to go on here in the free agency period, in the trades, and all of that. Hope that helps you out. If so, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button. We're trying to get up to 1,000. We're growing, and we're almost, I think it's 75% of the way there. So help out old Frankie to get up to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're already a subscriber, feel free to share this video with your social media. Help us grow. We'd appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.
We're building something here, Detective. We're building it from scratch. All the pieces matter.